Entergy is proud to support programming on LPB and greener practices that preserve Louisiana.
The goal of our environmental and sustainability initiatives really is to ensure that our kids and future generations can be left with a cleaner planet.
Additional support provided by the Fred B. and Ruth B. Ziegler Foundation and the Ziegler Art Museum located in Jennings City Hall. The museum focuses on emerging Louisiana artists and is an historical and cultural center for Southwest Louisiana. And the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting, with support from viewers like you.
It has a lot to do with just this current situation in this season.
A hurricane season filled with anxiety.
Voters in Louisiana have been fairly discriminating in how they approach these.
A government watchdog leader talks proposed constitutional amendments on the November ballot.
The only reason we don't have the money is government spent it.
Why State Treasurer John Schroder is pushing Amendment 7.
We've been living like gypsies, basically.
Trying to recover from Hurricane Laura while bracing for another storm threat.
Hi, everyone. I'm Natasha Williams.
And I'm Andre Morrow. Much more on those top stories in a moment on this week's edition of SWI. But first, Hurricane Delta bears down on Louisiana.
Governor John Bel Edwards received a federal state of emergency declaration from the White House in advance of the storm.
This is a big help for us to get in the best possible shape in advance of the storm. Securing the knowledge that our federal partners are standing with us and that we have the available resources and know that we're going to be sharing in the expenses as well. As it approaches our coast, Hurricane Delta is forecasted to be weakening rather than strengthening, and it's going to be a storm that moves faster, and it should be moving in a northeasterly direction rather than a due north direction. Having said that, it is very clear that Southwest Louisiana is going to get more of a punch from this than we would like to see for sure, because we're still trying to recover from Hurricane Laura.
And now we'll look at other headlines making news across our state. GOP lawmakers trying to chisel away at the governor's coronavirus restrictions this week sought to protect a Baton Rouge area pastor charged with repeatedly violating those rules. The House Criminal Justice Committee voted 6-3 for a bill that would grant churches immunity from fines and prosecution. The bill is one of dozens filed in special session of the legislature to undermine the governor's coronavirus authority. It includes the statewide mask mandate. The pastor in question is the Reverend Tony Spell for violations that happened over and over. Committee Chair Ted James voted against the bill. Sasol has announced it's selling a 50% stake in 3 of its Lake Charles area plants. Houston-based LyondellBasell will become a joint partner in a $2 billion deal. It will acquire the stakes in the manufacturing of the chemical compounds ethylene and polyethylene. Sasol sustained damage in Hurricane Laura. New Orleans city workers will have their pay cut by 10% as the Big Easy faces major revenue declines amid the coronavirus. Mayor LaToya Cantrell announced a temporary furlough of 4,700 employees, including police, firefighters, and other public safety personnel. Hurricane Laura damaged nearly 1,900 graves in our state, but fewer than 25 families have asked for help with them. Attorney General Jeff Landry's office surveyed 127 cemeteries in 9 parishes and is offering assistance with recovery efforts. Hurricane Delta is forcing changes in the weekend's college football schedule. LSU will play its game with Missouri at Columbia instead of Tiger Stadium. UL Lafayette will move its game against Coastal Carolina to October 14th. The next Bayou Classic between Southern and Grambling will be played in Shreveport at Independence Stadium April 17th. Both SWAC schools are playing a spring football schedule. Hurricane fatigue has long set in for most of us in Louisiana. I talked with state climatologist Barry Keim.
It's a terrible season to have hurricane fatigue, but it's certainly understandable that that would happen in this given year. But the conditions that are heading towards us, at least as forecasted, look pretty grim, and not a good time to let your guard down. We need to stay hyper vigilant here because this is going to be a very dangerous storm. But I understand you can only tap those adrenal glands so many times, and we've done it numerous times this season. It's hard to get it activated again, but we got to go to that well one more time.
One thing we've seen this season is rapid intensification. Is that something having to do with just normal hurricane behavior or climate change, or is it this season alone?
Well, it has a lot to do with just this current situation in this season. We have very warm sea surface temperatures out over the breeding grounds. That's the first ingredient. And then to have this rapid intensification take place on, above and beyond just the warm sea surface temperatures, is you need very favorable air aloft, which means you need to allow the storms to vent, have very low wind shear, a low wind shear environment. And we've had those two ingredients essentially all season long. And that is why we've seen some rapid intensification of some of these hurricanes. You're feeding all this energy from the bottom with these warm sea surface temperatures, and then you're allowing all the dynamics in the atmosphere to play themselves out and to vent, to allow the storm to vent at these high altitudes. That's a really important component. And that's why you hear us talking about wind shear all the time. And we've had these low wind shear environments, and that's allowing these storms just to blossom very, very quickly.
Let's talk about the difference between a storm that is undergoing that rapid intensification as it hits the coast, makes landfall, as opposed to one that's already done that and then may begin to diminish a little bit. Is that something to even worry about?
Yes, that is something to be very concerned about. And the problem is the storm surge. Think about Hurricane Katrina. When Hurricane Katrina was out over the Gulf of Mexico, it got up to Category 5 strength with 175 mile an hour sustained winds, which is crazy. And it built up this huge Category 5 storm surge. And even though as it got closer to the coastline, it weakened down to a Category 3, it was still packing that Category 5 surge plowed into our coastline. This storm has those kinds of capabilities and possibilities. And even if the storm does weaken as it approaches the coast, it still could be packing those really, really high surge values from an earlier strength in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. In fact, what we found, some of our research at LSU, is that the strength of the storm 18 hours before landfall has the highest correlation with how big the surge will be at the coastline. So that's a better predictor than how strong the storm is actually at landfall for how big of a surge you're going to experience.
It was forecast for the season to be like this. But once you're in it, repeatedly under the gun, it's almost like, I can't believe this is happening again.
It was forecast to be an above normal season. And having said that, most seasons since 1995 have been forecast to be above normal.
Right.
This one is bordering on ridiculous. I mean, this is rivaling 2005, and in fact, it's even exceeding 2005, which is the busiest hurricane season we have on record. It's exceeding it in terms of the total number of storms. Now, that year ended up with 27 named storms. We're at 25 right now. With still several weeks of hurricane season to go. It's very likely we're going to eclipse what took place in 2005.
And you just said something that it's another reason to keep that preparation there and in place, because the season is far from over.
Far from over. Keep in mind, this storm, Delta, is going to be the 4th landfall in Louisiana. The highest number of landfalls we've ever had in Louisiana in a single season is 4. We'll be tying that record. Now, interestingly, the years that happened, they were not all bad storms. It was in 2002 with Hurricane Lily, like I just mentioned. And also back in 1923, we had 4 landfalls of named storms in Louisiana. Obviously, the worst year in terms of damage and impact was 2005. Now, in 2005, we had 3 named storms, but that happened to be Katrina and Rita, which were 2 of the largest storm surges we've ever had in Louisiana. So the impact of those events outstrips almost any other storm that we've ever had.
Since 1974, the state charter has been amended 197 times. That number is likely to surpass 200 as Louisiana voters consider 7 proposed constitutional amendments on November 3rd. I talked with Robert Travis Scott of the Public Affairs Research Council, or PAR, for a better understanding of what changes could be in store if voters say yes to these measures. There are 7 amendments that voters in our state will get to decide on November 3rd. Robert Travis Scott, the president of the Public Affairs Research Council, or PAR, says among the most controversial is Amendment Number 1.
This particular amendment was passed as a proposal in 2019 by the legislature, and they held it over all the way just so we could vote on it in 2020. And so it's going to be on the ballot. It's really pretty straightforward. It basically adds this to the Constitution. And Natasha, I won't read any more of these ballot items in this detail, but this one is very simple and people need to understand it. To protect human life, nothing in this Constitution shall be construed to secure or protect a right to abortion or require funding of abortion.
Scott says lawmakers want to be clear on what our Constitution spells out in case Roe versus Wade is overturned.
Now, they didn't want judges interpreting what our Constitution may or may not say, because the Louisiana Constitution doesn't directly address abortion.
Amendment 2 deals with the oil and gas well severance tax.
So this amendment allows the property assessor to take into consideration the minerals that might be in that well to be produced. And this allows the assessors to consider the income value of the well. The proponents of it would say, hey, it's an agreement, it's going to make it easier. It's going to take the shut-in wells and not charge them probably quite as much, and it's going to take the really profitable wells and put a larger fair tax on those.
Amendment 3 deals with the rainy day fund.
It gives us another way to tap money out of that. It's officially known as the Budget Stabilization Fund, and it's supposed to try to keep the state budget from getting too high in a big surge revenue period and be able to taper off the lows if you hit a bad economic period. What this fund would do is it would say in a federally declared emergency, you can go take money out of this rainy day fund. Proponents say they want it as sort of front money in case the federal money doesn't come down fast enough. And the opponents to this would say, hey, look, you're creating another reason to tap a budget stabilization fund that shouldn't be in there.
Amendment 4 creates a new formula for a spending limit.
What this amendment would do, number 4, is it would bring in a new formula for the spending limit, and it would require a 2/3 vote to change that formula. But it would still allow what happens now, which is a 2/3 vote that the legislature can change the spending limit up or down any amount anyway. They still have that privilege, but this creates a new formula that would probably keep a tighter limit. It would not grow as much as the current limit. If you want a tighter spending limit, ceiling on there, this would be the amendment for you. If you want the state to have a little bit more flexibility, then this would not be the amendment for you.
Amendment 5 deals with property taxes.
A mechanism that would help set up a sort of new way of allowing local governments to negotiate with manufacturers on basically what the property tax would be, or in this case, the payments in lieu of property taxes. Right now, manufacturing plants can be assessed and pay the property tax according to the way the laws and the local government have it set up, or they can get the industrial tax exemption if they qualify. And under the current system, they can go 8 years at 80% exemption, getting 80% of their exemption from that property tax, or the local governments can choose whether or not they're going to get that advantage or not. What this amendment would do is it would create a new type of pilot, payment in lieu of taxes. Louisiana already has payment in lieu of taxes. It's a system that's already set up, and any kind of business, manufacturing or otherwise, is able to negotiate with a local government entities and be able to set up a payment over time instead of paying the property taxes.
Amendment 6 gives a tax break to a group of people 65 and older, disabled veterans, surviving military spouses, and others meeting a certain requirement.
What Amendment number 6 does is it changes an existing property tax break, especially for seniors. For if you're age 65 or older, or there's some other people who fit this category as well, you can get your property tax assessment frozen if your income level is about $77,000 or less. That's the way it's set up right now. And it doesn't freeze your actual tax bill, it frees your assessment.
We talked to State Treasurer John Schroder about Amendment 7, which calls for the establishment of an unclaimed property trust fund.
Hi, I'm Louisiana State Treasurer John Schroder.
State Treasurer John Schroder is airing ads like this one, hoping to draw attention to Amendment 7 and dispel what he calls the myth surrounding unclaimed property in the state of Louisiana.
So unclaimed property is basically lost money. A lot of people think it's real estate, but this is all cash. This is a program that's been run for over 30 years by the state. And companies like banks and insurance companies, stocks, royalties, things like that, could be deposits. And a lot of gift certificates, believe it or not, get turned over to the state once they can't find you. There's a 5-year period that if the account is dormant, it gets turned over to the state. So basically between $80 to $90 million a year come to the state. The state's supposed to run a program that returns this money to the citizens of Louisiana.
Treasurer Schroder had been locked in a 3-year dispute with Governor John Bel Edwards until earlier this year, the Republican refusing to transfer over $32 million of unclaimed funds to be used for government programs. A judge ruled in favor of Edwards, but a compromise led to the legislation that placed Amendment 7 on the ballot. Amendment 7, if passed, will create an unclaimed property trust fund, ending the practice of immediately transferring unclaimed money to the general fund.
There's only 5 or 6, maybe 7 states that require that the state will always owe this money. So if you come at any point in time to the state of Louisiana, you can always claim that money. So what typically happens, and what has happened historically over the years, is about $80 million comes in, they return about 30, 15 million go to the pay off bonds on the I-49 interstate, and then the balance has been going to the state general fund. That has been happening year after year after year to the tune of about $900 million now on paper would belong. If everybody showed up, that's how much the state would owe.
Schroder says times have changed and his office has used new technology to change with it.
What happened is we went from giving back about 25 million or so a year. 2 years in a row now, it's been around 60 or more million. So this is the second time now since I've been treasurer that I do not have enough money in the account today to pay all the claims that are eligible to be paid.
He says Amendment 7 would fix that.
What the trust fund does is takes the unclaimed property money, the principal, and puts it into a trust fund. And we're able to invest that money, just like we do other trust funds for the state, which is about $9 billion. And we're able to invest that in very low risk investments, but we get a pretty good return between 3 and 4%. So it would take us about 7 years to earn the interest that is being swept into the state general fund right now. So the Constitution Amendment is pretty simple. It protects the money, but it also allows Treasury to invest it and allows the state to use the interest in the state general fund.
So you're trying to establish this trust fund basically so that you can pay the people that are coming to you, the money that is theirs. You basically have been giving it to the general fund and you don't have the money to pay the claims that come in.
It's really a timing issue. I mean, and the governor's right from this standpoint. Nobody's ever goes not paid. We've been able to pay every claim, but why should somebody have to wait 30 days to get paid? I mean, we have the only reason we don't have the money is government spent it. It's not it's not the government's money to spend, in my opinion.
I found some money that I didn't think I had, basically, that I had all squirreled away. It's a cute little song, but kind of reminds me of that. You could just all of a sudden realize you got some cash waiting for you. You might as well claim it.
Retired nurse and Houma resident Robin Page learned she had unclaimed cash when her husband checked the site.
It wasn't a lot. It was a little over $100. So, but it was just nice to find it, and there are some people listed that have things under $25, but every little bit counts. Apparently I had missed out on some deposits in the past. I don't even know where it really came from exactly.
Page says she'll be voting yes on Amendment 7, hoping others, including some of her own family members, will be able to get their unclaimed money too.
I support trying as best they can to get it back to the owners of the cash, certainly. The interest, I understand that there are a lot of people that are not doing it. So I don't see a problem with the interest going back to the general fund. But in the interim, I do believe that there should be every effort made to try to get it back to the hands of those who put it, who actually own it.
Now, again, there are 7 proposed amendments to the Louisiana Constitution on this year's ballot. For more information or to see our stories again, go to lpb.org. We also talked to PAR's Robert Travis Scott about the sports betting measure that is also on the November ballot.
Basically, it says, hey, can you bet on sports? Can you do it online? Can you, can you do it at the casino? And so we already have fantasy sports betting, but this is like the more direct, real thing where you're betting on games in addition to 1,000 other varieties of the way you can bet on sports. But it's a parish thing. You're voting not to approve this statewide. You're voting whether or not your parish that you live in is going to allow sports betting to take place. And it won't even become law, even if your parish says yes. It won't happen quite yet. The legislature still has to come back and say, well, what are the rules?
We turn back now to the hurricane threat that is upon us. With Lake Charles hyper concerned about Hurricane Delta, I talked with a resident who is in the early stages of recovery from Hurricane Laura and having to evacuate again.
It's been devastating around here to see so many businesses have lost or are closing or close. And of course, personal loss for the people, the homes and such. Some of them roofs torn off or completely demolished or flooded or trees fell in them. So it's.
And for you, life right now, and this is a little more than a month after, what's that like?
It's still a little surreal. We just got back a week ago. We've been living like gypsies, basically. Thankfully, the kindness of strangers, friends. We've stayed in Lafayette. We've gone all the way up to Montana. We've lived over in Lacassine in a friend's travel trailer once they had power because it'd be closer to work. But it's just been kind of crazy. Like up until Friday, we didn't even have internet at the office. And then it went down again yesterday. And I still don't have it at home, and we're told that it may be December. So it's like we're living in a different country.
When you've just experienced something like Laura, then it does put you on your constant guard, I would think.
Again, I don't know that I've gotten my bearings just yet. Yesterday, I felt like, I was back in familiar settings, but I just hadn't really found my footing. And so I have friends from all around the world who keep asking how I am, and then I'll send them articles that I have about Laura, and they said that they're not hearing anything about the aftermath, the recovery, because there's so many things going on this year. It just seems like we've completely been off the radar, and that's unfortunate because Lake Charles and Calcasieu and the whole areas that were affected by Laura deserve a lot better.
And your mayor, that's one of the big fears when we talked to him, is that people would forget. And we're trying to do our best to make sure that people don't forget. So we're all aware of what still continues to be your everyday reality.
Yeah, and we appreciate you guys doing that. We watch you guys regularly when we have access to television. So it's important that people realize that Louisianians are suffering, and this storm, wherever it hits, is just going to add to that and compound it.
Your home in particular, what damage did you have at your house?
Well, I as you told me possibly before we started this interview, I tend to be optimistic, and I know that there are so many who are much worse than we are. But the usual. Everybody lost some shingle roof issues, integrity, and we're going to have to deal with that. But we tarped it as fast as we could. Trees falling. We had the same thing, fell in our backyard. Thankfully, missed the house, got our fence, but no big deal. Again, these are things that are irritating, and then trust me, after 7 days in the heat in the summer, cutting a tree and moving a tree and tarping roofs. I'm never going to complain about having a white collar job again. It's just one day at a time. You pick up yourself, you dust yourself off, and you go forward and you do the best you can today, and hopefully that puts you in a better place tomorrow.
You know what? You always have such a bright outlook, and we can all appreciate that and all aspire to do that also. So thanks for giving us that.
Well, thank you, Andre.
And our prayers with you, Cornell, and everyone, especially those still trying to repair and rebuild and likely about to suffer another setback because of another dangerous hurricane.
Mike Foster, Louisiana's two-term governor from 1996 to 2004, was buried with military honors Wednesday. The ceremonies were modest, in keeping with the no-frills attitude when in office of the millionaire businessman.
Foster died Sunday at his home in Franklin from an age-related illness. Foster was known for his love of hunting and fishing, and he switched his party registration to Republican to run for governor after 8 years as a Democratic state senator. Foster's grandfather had been governor of Louisiana in the late 19th century.
Foster championed the TOPS college tuition program, the community college system, and changes to the state's tax policy.
He was buried in an oak casket in a cement vault under a live oak tree. Governor Mike Foster was 90. And that's our show for this week, everyone. Remember, you can watch anything LPB anytime, wherever you are, with our LPB app.
Catch LPB news and public affairs shows, as well as other Louisiana programs you've come to enjoy over the years. And please like us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
For everyone here at Louisiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Andre Morrow.
And I'm Natasha Williams. Thanks for watching.
Until next time, that's the state we're in.
Entergy is proud to support programming on LPB and greener practices that preserve Louisiana.
The goal of our environmental and sustainability initiatives really is to ensure that our kids and future generations can be left with a cleaner planet.
Additional support provided by the Fred B. and Ruth B. Ziegler Foundation and the Ziegler Art Museum located in Jennings City Hall. The museum focuses on emerging Louisiana artists and is an historical and cultural center for Southwest Louisiana. And the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting, with support from viewers like you.